In this video we are going to look at the inflation in Europe. Inflation is the rate of increase in prices over a given period of time. It means, you can buy less for €1 today than you could a month ago. The main cause of high inflation in Europe is the rise in energy prices. The annual inflation in Europe is currently 7.4%. Annual inflation is the change of the price level of consumer goods and services between the current month and the same month of the previous year. The European Union has a slightly higher inflation rate, namely 7.8%. Malta, France and Portugal have the lowest inflation rates in Europe. But which 10 countries have the highest inflation in Europe? We start with number 10, Romania. Romania has an inflation rate of 9.6% in March 2022. The disruption or even stoppage of production in China's manufacturing plants, and the disruption of supply chain has had a very big impact on Romania's inflation rates. The measures taken by the Central Bank of Romania, including pumping a large amount of money into Romania's economy and drastically cutting interest rates, have also contributed to the higher inflation. Number 9. Slovakia. Slovakia has the same inflation rate as Romania, namely 9.6%. Before the war in Ukraine broke out, inflation was expected to rise by 6%. However, due to the war, inflation has risen to 9.6%. The effects can be felt in every area, from tourism to food shortages, caused by fear of conflict in a neighboring country. Slovakia, two-thirds dependent on crude oil from Russia, and more than 90% of the natural gas comes from Russia. Number 8, Spain. Spain has an inflation rate of 9.8%. The news is not good for Spanish consumers, who have already endured staggering rises in fuel, electricity and even groceries so far this year. On the other hand, the IMF believes that Spain will be one of the European countries whose economies will grow the most by this year and next year. Number 7, Poland. Poland's economic performance in February 2022 was robust. This was before the war in Ukraine. But there are concerns looking ahead. The current inflation has risen to 10.2%. Poland is Europe's sixth largest economy by GDP and a major producer of machinery, vehicles and electronics, as well as a host of minerals including coal, copper, zinc and rock salt. Poland has surpassed Portugal on a standard measure of affluence for the first time. Last year, Poland's GDP per capita was at 76.9% of the EU average, nearly 3 percentage points above that of Portugal and just behind Spain. Number 6, Bulgaria. Bulgaria has an inflation rate of 10.5%. Bulgaria is the poorest EU member state. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has changed Bulgaria's economic prospects in 2022, but also in the medium term. The military conflict has led to rising energy and basic raw material prices, which will have a negative impact on household purchasing power. Bulgaria is almost entirely dependent on energy imports from Russia, with the exception of coal. Number 5, Latvia. Latvia is a Baltic state with very high inflation. Consumer prices in Latvia rose 11.5% in March of 2022. Before the war in Ukraine, the forecast was a GDP growth of 4% in 2022. After the beginning of the war in Ukraine, the forecast has been revised to 2.1% growth in 2022. With costs increasing not only for gas or electricity but also food, there is a risk that the poor get even poorer. Even if they have a job or pension and their income has not decreased. Many in Latvia are at risk of poverty, with nearly half of them among pensioners. Number 4, the Netherlands. The Netherlands is the most surprising of the top 10. The Netherlands has an inflation rate of 11.7%. That is the highest figure since the oil crisis of 1975. Salaries are unable to keep up with these rising prices. To compensate for the high inflation, the government reduced excise duties on fuel at the beginning of this month by 17 cents per liter of petrol and 11 cents per liter of diesel. This measure will certainly apply until the end of this year. People with a low income will also receive until €800 compensation for their energy bills in April. Number 3, Czech. Czech has an inflation rate of 11.9%. The purchasing power of people living in the Czech Republic is falling despite overall growth in wages. The Czech National Bank has already raised interest rates to try to keep a lid on inflation, but the measure has so far only had a limited effect. Number 2, Estonia. The current inflation rate of Estonia is 14.8%. Estonia is undertaking plans to reduce its reliance on Russia, which provides all of its natural gas imports, by accessing Lithuania's liquefied natural gas, LNG, terminal at Klaipėda. But the required pipeline expansion will take until next year. Estonia is the least reliant of the Baltic states on energy imports due to domestic coal and shale oil production. Number 1, Lithuania. Lithuania's annual inflation rate reached 15.6%. This is the highest of Europe. Lithuania has become the first member of the European Union to end its dependence on natural gas from Russia. While other EU countries heavily rely on Russian natural gas for heating homes and electricity. In 2015, nearly 100% of Lithuania's gas supplies were derived from imports of Russian gas, but the situation has changed drastically over the past years after the country built an offshore LNG import terminal in the port city of Klaipėda. Central and Eastern Europe's economies are vulnerable to the fallout from the Ukraine war. Inflation there has therefore risen higher than in the rest of Europe. That is why the top 10 mainly consists of Central and Eastern European countries. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.